Most of the horses who come under my training are rescue horses and have been labeled problem horses. They've had some abuse and less than a perfect past. But when I rehabilitate them physically and mentally, they become truly awesome, trusting, willing partners. So some people who witness this transformation feel really inspired to adopt a rescue horse, and they have the most wonderful intentions and dream about their partnership and relationship. But sometimes the disconnect happens when that horse does not behave the way that they thought it would. And I think the misconception for a lot of people who are newer to horses is that a horse is a horse and they would just magically behave just like what they expect and what they saw. But that's just simply not true. So I figured that to help the horses, I must first help the humans. So I've decided to create series of videos where I would explain what has worked for me. And I think this is important to address because there are some very basic principles in horse training that everybody agrees on, but then there are variations on how to train a horse, different methods, different philosophies. So it's almost like, us humans all speak a verbal language, but languages differ and words don't mean the same exact thing in different languages. So if I train a horse and I use a certain approach and you then approach that horse and ask them in a different way, there's going to be disconnect in understanding and therefore in behavior and therefore in performance. So when you're adapting a horse from a certain trainer, you have to understand their philosophy and their method and continue to communicate with the horse in the same way, unless you're going to restart them under a completely different program and then adhere to that. So again, my videos are not going to be about making other people's philosophies and training methods wrong, because I'm certainly not the authority in horse training. But they are going to be about how I train horses and why I choose to train them that way. So generally speaking, there are two main approaches to horse training. One is more like military style, fear, dominance, release, motivated cooperation. And then the other one is more inspiring voluntary participation and using positive reinforcement and rewards. And this is the one that I tend to be using. I've seen people have great success with using the more dominant based method, because at the end of the day, the good trainer would produce a horse who's reliable and can carry a beginner or a child, and nobody's gonna want to get rid of that horse. But then I've seen those other horses who maybe have not been handled by a good trainer, and they have ended up very confused, and people have been angry with them, and that has led to mistrust. And that mistrust and insecurity has led to behavioral problems. So with those horses, you're not starting from a blank sheet of paper where you can draw your own dream picture. You first have to reverse the cycle of misbehavior, punishment, and more mistrust. And to turn that cycle with those horses, I have found that you can't use the dominance approach, or they become either shut down and kind of in a state of learned helplessness, or they become passive aggressive, or sometimes even when they get an opportunity with a less experienced person, they would just lash out. But horses, as a general rule, are not aggressive species. They are flight animals. They're prey animals. They all the behaviors that they exhibit are because they are concerned for their safety, and it's an innate response of survival. So either they're scared and overwhelmed by the situation and they don't have a way out, or they don't trust the leadership. So leadership is the key, most important component in a horse's life that needs to be there, and needs to be a good one. So horses value safety first and comfort second, and safety in their mind comes through a good leader. So everyone in the horse industry agrees that horses need good leadership, or strong leadership, but not everyone agrees on the definition of leadership. But your whole philosophy and training stems from the way that you define leadership. And that's what I will be addressing in the next video. So if you're interested in knowing more, please stay tuned. In conclusion, can a rescue horse become your dream horse? Absolutely. But you have to be able to understand that horse, communicate with that horse, build trust, connection, and be a strong leader. All the pictures that you're seeing now are of rescue horses. They have become great trail horses, great kids horses, and some of them have become champions in certain disciplines. So be inspired to enter this journey, but don't enter it blindly. Rather, learn how to invite that cooperative spirit and that partnership that would yield great rewards for you and your horse. Thanks for watching.